Hello, beauties. Welcome to Moms Unboxed, a podcast where I unbox with you the how-tos, tips, and tricks to empower women to upgrade relationships, intimacy, and parenting. I'm your host, Melanie Carolyn, a multi-dimensional woman, life coach, lover, and mom who's made a lot of fucking mistakes. If you want to live a sensual and liberated life, you've come to the right space. Don't forget to follow Moms Unboxed because you don't want to miss an episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode on Moms Unboxed. How y'all doing this week? I know the holidays are getting crazy and we're preparing for Christmas morning. And damn, are we tired or what, mamas? Because I know I am. Today, we are talking about healthy relationships versus unhealthy relationships and how we can bring unhealthy relationships to a healthier place. Now, I am not talking about toxic relationships, and I am one that believes an unhealthy relationship and a toxic relationship are two different things, okay? Toxic relationships, like, girl, you got to get out. If you cannot heal and is still toxic as hell, manipulative, gaslighting, physical, emotional, mental abuse, that is fucking toxic, okay? But today we are talking about unhealthy relationships. So yes, us beings do unhealthy things in a partnership, like argue, interrupt each other, possibly raise our voice. We got some unhealthy communication. And we can fix those things. Those things are like, hey, we're showing up for each other. Yeah, we got work to improve our relationship, and we could do that. Okay, that is unhealthy. That is very different than having a toxic relationship. So I just wanted to put that out there because I don't want y'all to get confused with what I'm talking about. So today we are talking about unhealthy relationships. And many of us come into relationships with the same toxic patterns that can contribute to having an unhealthy relationship. And when two people get together and they recognize that, yes, we do some unhealthy things in our relationship because of our past patterns, our past relationships, and we want to fix that. Today, we are looking at survival-based communication and a lack of emotional intelligence. So we want to improve on those things. And like I said, most of us are taught what a unhealthy relationship looks like, even from our parents. If we had parents who disassociated, they were distant, they didn't communicate well, they were yelling, arguing, and not processing their emotions in an intelligent way, that is what our example was in a relationship and what was acceptable in a relationship. I know that in my childhood, my form of what in a relationship looked like was emotional abuse, physical abuse, addiction, a lot of yelling, a lot of disconnection. And ultimately, I wanted something better for myself, but I ended up attracting that same bullshit. And it was horrific. And it's one of those things where you like try so hard not to become the person that you didn't want to be, or try so hard not to have the relationship that you saw as an example when you were a little girl, and then you ended up having that same type of relationship. Okay, that is me. Exhibit A, baby. Like, it was all wrong. And that led me to make a shift within myself and in my relationship. Now, that didn't become before my marriage ended, or all the guilt and shame that I carried because of the choices that I made, because I was attracted to an addict who was a man-child, and I thought it was, my job to be superwoman and fix this person. So I destroyed everything before I learned from my mistakes. So let me enlighten you, because I don't want you to go through the same bullshit that I went through in order to transform your relationship. Okay, so what does an unhealthy dynamic look like? We get defensive instead of being curious. We engage in conflict and we escalate things instead of softening and having patience. We avoid, stonewall, or shut down instead of being open and curious. We are emotionally reactive instead of being emotionally regulated. We fear expressing our needs, wants, and desires because we have been so shut down and repressed throughout our life that we just don't communicate what we want. And then we blame our partner. We have high expectations because we have high expectations of ourselves. We get mad at our partner because they're able to slow down, play a game, and rest while we are so hyperactive and running on survival mode that we can't relax. And what I'm noticing right now is that there is a war on men on social media because of these exact things. Because women don't advocate for themselves or express themselves in a way that helps their partner understand. And so what happens is we get angry, we get pissy, irritated, we shut down, we avoid because the man is not doing exactly what we need them to do. Why? Because we have high expectations. We want something done and we want it done now. Well, okay. When my dad used to say, when I say jump, you better jump. And I'm like, oh, hell no. No. We should not be having a relationship like this. Okay. That is mom energy. Okay. And mom energy in a partnership is not sexy. It's not sensual. It's not soft. It's not dropping into our feminine energy. That is wounded masculine energy. So I'm seeing all these reels on social media. 3 reasons why it's better not to have my partner home. Like, what? Oh my gosh. Is this where we're going right now, ladies? We're blaming their men for our lack of communication, for having such high standards. And you could sit here and argue with me. I get it. I am pro women. Okay, y'all know that. But let's take accountability and responsibility for us instead of shifting blame, because that is also unhealthy in a relationship. We want to look inwards with compassion and tenderness and say, okay, where am I having really high expectations? Where am I getting upset with my partner because I'm not able to soften and slow down? Where am I lacking communication? Perhaps I'm not expressing my emotions and my feelings and how something is affecting me. Is there a way I can word this so that my partner understands? And is it necessary that they take out the garbage right then and there? No, it's not. But do they have a pattern of maybe not doing what I ask? Yes. So is it perhaps that I am basing this energy on past repeated patterns? Because I'll tell you what, ladies, I will tell you what. There was a time where I lit up Donnie because he would get mad at me because I was getting mad because when I asked him to do something, it would never get done. I would fucking literally wait 3 months and I'm like, hey, the basement still needs to get cleaned. The kitty litter boxes still need to be changed. And he would get pissy because I would be pissy because I would be on my 10th time asking. So ladies, I understand. Trust me, I do. But here's the deal. I started pointing out that behavior. I notice you're getting upset with me because I'm upset that I'm having to ask. And I shouldn't have to get angry for something to get done. And that's where we were at. Is like I would literally have to get fucking pissy for something to get done. And that's not fair to the women. That's not fair to you. That's not fair to you as a partner, a mom, a person. Like, you shouldn't have to bird dog everybody to get some shit done. Like, it shouldn't all fall on your shoulders. So I started pointing out my own emotions. I'm getting upset because I have to ask you 10 times, and I'm noticing that it's not until I get angry that you actually do as I requested. And when I started pointing that out, like, hey, this is a result to your lack of doing, things changed. He started noticing that, like, oh shit, she's kind of right. I'm not moving until she gets angry. And that's not fair to her. That's not healthy for our relationship. So we took that unhealthy, dysregulated emotions and response, and we started communicating our emotions, our feelings, and what we saw as a result to those emotions. And now when I ask for something to get done, it takes less time, honey. He's like, okay, I'm not going to do it right this second, but I will get it done. Trust me. He just kept asking, trust me. Okay, let me see these old patterns changing. And I started to recognize that things would happen more quickly. Probably within that day, if it was like the garbage or something. But if it was like a bigger project, be within the week, within the next few days. I don't have to wait 3 months anymore for larger projects to get done. And it was so refreshing because my nervous system could regulate. And even though my brain was telling me, look at these past behaviors, look at these past patterns, he's going to take months. It's like, okay, let me look for new testimony that those things aren't true. And new patterns begin to be created, new testimony unfolded. So if you find yourself getting dysregulated, getting angry, reacting, shutting down, being avoidant as a result to something your partner is doing, point out your own emotions and point out the reaction that you're having based on what's happening. See things shift. Men think logically, right? They're like, okay, they look at numbers, patterns, all the things. So if you point out the pattern, do you notice that this is how I'm feeling as a result to this? And you're not shifting blame to them. You're just saying, hey, this is the pattern, this is the emotion, and a result to XYZ. I would love to be able to soften and trust that things are going to get done, but this is what I need to have happen. Oh, okay. Woo! So it really starts to shift your relationship from being unhealthy to healthy because you're elevating that communication, inner awareness, and taking responsibility for your own emotions, for your own emotional behavior patterns. When we shift blame into taking responsibility, reaction into regulation, silence into self-advocacy, control to boundaries, and fear to emotional safety, we elevate our relationship from being unhealthy to healthy. When you notice, hey, oh, hell yeah. Yeah, me and Donnie. Okay. I love that man. We have worked on our communication so much throughout our relationship. But let me tell you, lately, the stress, life circumstances, kids, events, holidays, all the things, it adds pressure, right? We are busy, we're tired, we're going nonstop. We don't have a lot of time for ourselves, let alone each other. And communication can start breaking down when stress levels reach a certain point, right? When you don't have time to be intimate or have sex, especially for me. Damn. I start getting a little irritated. I notice the communication breakdown is starting to happen. Okay. And it does. And I'm like, we were bickering. And finally one day I was like, I would love to know what you think is contributing to our communication not being where it usually is. The key to having improved communication is talking about these issues when you're not in a fight, when you are not arguing, when stress levels are not high. Because you want to have a conversation about the breakdown, not be in the breakdown and talking about the breakdown. That only escalates the breakdown, okay? You don't want to do that. No, when things cool, calm, and collected. Hi, I would love to know what you think is contributing to us not communicating well. And you hear them out. You process through a lens of objectivity. That means you don't take the shit personally. You listen. You take responsibility. You see where you are contributing to the breakdown of communication. Or the breakdown of, it could be anything, breakdown of your sex life, breakdown of your intimacy, breakdown in all the things. And you listen attentively. Oh, okay, because I have a tone of voice. I see that. Yeah. I notice I'm triggered when XYZ. But you have to understand where you're being triggered, where you might start having a tone of voice, or where your body language shifts, or where you start being avoidant, or where you start being distant, or when you start arguing, you start interrupting. Why are you doing that? It's not up to your partner to identify that. You need to identify that for yourself. Because we have to heal what is triggering us for us to have a healthier partnership. Otherwise, if you are taking past trauma, triggers, unhealthy patterns into your relationship, you're bleeding all over your relationship. Point blank, period. And the amount of times that Donnie had to tell me that at the beginning of our relationship was great. You're bleeding all over me. You're bleeding all over our relationship. Well, fuck, I don't want to do that. So let me look internally with tenderness and compassion and grace and see where I can correct myself, where I can heal, where I can shift that behavior. Where can I soften my tone? How can I stay open even when I want to shut down? How can I be present even though I want to be avoidant? If I'm in fight mode, how can I process that is in a healthier way so that my partner isn't getting the blunt of my upset? Ooh, all the questions that you can ask yourself. One of the things about having a healthy relationship is both people have to be willing to try. You heal yourself and then you heal the relationship. But if you're trying to heal the relationship without healing yourself and you're so focused on your partner and your partner's so focused on you, oh my goodness, that's not going to work. Because then you're just pointing each other's bullshit out. And then what? That's blaming each other. That's being critical of each other. That's not being supportive. So you say, okay, I can heal myself in this way. I can change my behaviors in this way. And that will naturally contribute to having a healthy relationship because you become healthier first. The other thing you want to do when you are going from an unhealthy relationship to a healthy relationship is learning when to take that responsibility and apologizing. And you're not apologizing to shut the conversation down. Ugh, I just want him to stop talking. Okay, I'm sorry. How many times have you done that? Okay, I'm sorry. Yep, I hear you. I'm sorry. Okay. No, not gonna work either, babe. That is not gonna work either. When you feel safe to have a conversation and you feel safe to express yourself and take that responsibility, and you express your needs without fear, and you repair with self-reflection, it will automatically deepen that intimacy, especially when you're like, you know what, I see how this really affected you, and this affected me too. I'm sorry for raising my voice. I recognize that's an old pattern of mine. That's what I grew up with. That's what my past relationship was about. That's not something I want to bring into this relationship. I just appreciate it if you give me some patience and time, and that will shift. You see how different that is? Then, okay, I'm sorry. Yep. I hear you. Yep. That is not how we want to approach transitioning from an unhealthy relationship to a healthy relationship. We have to be willing to be heard, seen, and valued, not only for yourself, but for your partner. You know that saying, you got to treat others how you want to be treated? Well, that is true. If you want respect, you want to feel loved, you want to feel worthy, valued, seen, heard, all the things, you have to do that for your partner too. And I think sometimes we forget that. We forget that when we are lost in the sauce of our own feelings and emotions, because you only thinking about you in that moment. You did this. You, instead of I, you know what? I contributed to this. Yeah. You're right. I could have talked to you in a nicer tone. I'm just feeling so overwhelmed, and I'm feeling a little stressed out, and I'm feeling a little devalued, that I think those emotions triggered me. Woo, girl, you just blew his mind. Say what? You felt what? You know what I'm saying? That is coming to the table with taking that responsibility and accountability for your own emotions and your own trigger. And you, in result, you had this behavior that affected the relationship. And when you approach your relationship with this accountability, taking responsibility, softening, trying to understand each other and being objective in that, being able to point each other's bullshit out too is actually helpful. As much as it's difficult to hear where our shit stinks, okay, it's helpful. Like my partner, he says, you know, I hear your tone of voice and I'm just trying to understand what you're trying to relay. Oh, I'm sorry, I did not hear my tone. Or for him too, he gets really animated and he starts looking like he's angry, even though he says he isn't angry. I'm not sure he knows what he feels in that moment. We've been talking about it, but I'll point it out. I say, I see you're getting really animated and you're kind of getting that look in your eyes. I'm just trying to understand what that means for you. Why are you raising your voice right now? If you approach things with curiosity from a place of questioning rather than pointing the finger, it's asking for clarity. Can you help me understand what I'm seeing here? Can you help me understand what I'm hearing? Because what we don't want to do in a relationship is assume how someone feels, to assume someone's emotions. Because we interpret things in all types of different ways based on old programming, based on what I call your worldview. The way you grew up, the way your friends treated you, the way you treat yourself, the way you interpret things. Someone could say something one way. Okay, I'll give you an example. You are the receiver, okay? Someone says something to you. You know, it could be your auntie. And then your sister says the same damn thing to you, and you're going to take what your sister said as a slight, and then you're going to throw shit at your aunt and think it's all funny. It's like, hold on a minute. I just said that same thing. But because the relationship dynamic is different, because of your history with your sister, you're going to take it differently than you would your auntie. So when your partner says something to you, or you take it as a slight, instead of being curious, like, what did you mean by that? I would like to understand what you're talking about. You might receive it totally different than actually how they meant it. So it's always good to approach what you don't understand with curiosity instead of getting defensive, instead of attacking your partner. Like, oh, I'm really curious about this. What did you mean? Or, hey, I noticed your tone and your body language and you raising your voice right now is really starting to trigger me. Can you just help me understand what you're trying to relay? I want to know. What's the intention? What is the intention? Please help me understand. So you can approach conflict in so many different ways. Is you get to choose how you want to respond. You get to choose if you want to be open and curious and compassionate. You get to choose if you want to be objective. You want to question things rather than attack. To improve your communication, you must understand the self. What is triggering you and why? Where are your expectations? Are they too high? Are you expecting things from your partner that you wish you could do? You wish you could slow down. You wish you could chill and hang out and play on your phone. But you just can't because your mind won't shut up about all the different things that you have to do. Don't put that on your partner. That's on you. You get to change that. You get to shift. If you're getting mad because your partner is not doing something, are you advocating for yourself? Are you communicating? Or you just have all these high expectations? You want your man to read your brain, and they don't read brains, so you get angry. Where is your timing? Is your timing too high? Like, oh, I asked you to take out the garbage. I mean, right now, right 30 seconds ago. Come on now. Shouldn't have been taking out the garbage when I was saying the word garbage. Like, no. Okay. Are you pointing out your own emotions and your own patterns based on the circumstances without shifting blame? It's like, hey, I'm noticing when I ask for something to happen that I have to get angry before it actually happens. This is very dysregulating. I don't like being in this wounded masculine energy, having to bird dog you, having to remind you a million times. It's really upsetting me, and I feel like it's hurting our relationship. Where can we meet in the middle? Where can we bridge the gap to find a solution? Woo! Let's have a conversation about it. That is so different than attacking someone, getting upset, getting angry. So this war on social media against men, I'm not about it. Not about it. And believe me, I know the frustrations. I've already expressed myself. But let's take some responsibility for ourselves. Let's find innovative ways to communicate to our partner so that they understand. There is more than one way of communicating. It's okay if people don't understand it the first time. You know, it's like trying to teach your child how to read, do math or writing, or talk to them about the war or any history subjects. They might not understand it one way, but if you reword it, oh, okay, I get it. Why do we change that when we're adults? Why do you think that's non-existent just because we've grown? I had dyslexia. I still have dyslexia. Okay, who am I kidding? I used to have the teachers reword questions in a way that I understood so that I can answer my test question. Okay, I still have to have that. Can you explain that differently, please? I'm not quite understanding what you're getting at. But we don't want to do that in our partnership. We just think a man should just understand the first time around. because we want to explain it one way. And usually when we're explaining it, we're angry, we're pissy, we're irritated, and they're tuning us out anyways because we're not soft, because we're not welcoming, because we're not giving that, hey, I'm curious energy about this. Can we shift this a little bit so that we feel like we're communicating in a healthy way? Woo, I could preach. So what I ask of you is, next time you feel the emotional reactions arising, you feel misunderstood, you feel unheard, you feel annoyed and irritated, sit down and have a conversation with your partner, not when you're irritated, but when you feel soft, when you feel spaciousness, when you feel like there's not going to be a lot of interruptions or things pulling at you. Like, hey, I've been noticing this is happening in our relationship. Can you tell me what's happening on your perspective? I want to come to a solution. I want to bridge. I want to amplify our relationship. I want to create healthy dynamics so that we can be an example for our children, our friends, our family, and the world around us. All right, Mama, I hope that you found this conversation to be helpful for you and your relationship. If you are looking for a space where we have more intimate conversations around transforming your relationship, igniting deeper intimacy, and elevating your parenting, come find me on the Moms Unboxed Telegram space. Yes, this space is free. And yes, there are coaching opportunities. So please join me. The link is in the episode description. And don't forget to live a liberated, sensual, and unboxed life. Have an amazing holiday. And until the next time. Thank you again for listening to Moms Unboxed. Please don't forget to share this episode with all your mommy friends and follow me on Instagram at Moms Unboxed Podcast. Tune in next Thursday for another juicy episode. Until the next time, sunshine.